Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're really embarking on something fascinating, a journey into a profound and often underappreciated part of India's heritage,
Mm-hmm.
ancient Indian martial arts.
Oh, absolutely.
And if you're thinking, this is just about fighting or swords,
Yeah,
think again. It's so much richer.
definitely. We're talking about this holistic integration, intense physical training, yes, but also deep spiritual discipline, complex ethical codes, and even, surprisingly, scientific knowledge.
Exactly. So for this deep dive, we're drawing on excerpts from sources like The Martial Arts of Ancient India, A Legacy of Strength, Spirit, and Science, and also some specific notes we have on training and regional styles.
Right. And our goal, our mission really, is to peel back those layers, understand how this tradition shaped not just warriors, but, culture, philosophy, the whole picture. It's way beyond just combat.
Okay, let's get into it. Part 1. The soul of the warrior, the philosophy, the ethics behind it all. What strikes me right away is just how old these traditions are. We're seeing mentions in the Rig Veda, the Atharva Veda, texts from millennia ago.
It's incredible, isn't it?
And this concept of the Vira, the Vedic warrior, they're not just soldiers, they're introduced as upholders of Dharma. But maybe for our listeners, what does Dharma actually mean in this context for a warrior?
That's a really crucial question. Dharma here isn't just about religion in the modern sense. It's more about righteous conduct, cosmic order, moral duty.
Okay, so duty and righteousness.
Exactly. So for the Vira, being a warrior wasn't just about being effective in battle, it was about fighting justly, upholding this moral framework.
Which explains why the training was never purely physical. Right?
Precisely. It was deeply spiritual, often done within the Gurukul
The
system.
Gurukul system. Remind us, that's like a traditional residential school where students live with their guru.
That's it. They immersed themselves. Learning wasn't just academics, it was character building, spiritual insight alongside the physical skills.
Wow. So connecting that to the big stories, like the Mahabharata.
Yes, the Mahabharata gives us amazing insights here. Martial skill wasn't just, human ability. It was often seen as an extension of divine will.
Like Arjuna, the master archer, but also a yogi.
Perfect example. And here's a really interesting detail. His teachers, Dronacharya and Kripacharya, they were Brahmins.
Right. That detail really stood out. It shows how this knowledge, this martial knowledge, kind of transcended the usual caste boundaries when Dharma, that sense of duty, demanded it.
It really does. It wasn't just about birth, but about the knowledge you held and the duty you performed. It's quite profound.
So if these arts were so powerful, how were they, regulated, ethically, given that upholder of Dharma idea?
Good point. There were strong ethical rules. The core concept was Dharma Yuddha, righteous warfare.
Okay.
This meant fair combat was absolutely paramount. There were rules. Don't strike someone who's unarmed. Don't attack from behind. Don't target civilians. Protecting innocence was fundamental.
So a strong moral compass was built right in.
Always. It was never just about winning. It was about how you fought. Righteous conduct, even in the heat of conflict.
That ethical foundation, that sort of deep morality, leads us nicely into the next part, the science of combat. Because they didn't just fight, they systematized it.
They really did, in a quite remarkable way.
And the key text here seems to be Dhanurveda. You mentioned it's not just a manual, it's an Upa-Veda of the Yajur-Veda. What does that tell us?
Okay, so an Upa-Veda is like a supplementary Veda, a specialized branch of knowledge linked to one of the main Vedas. Dhanurveda being tied to the Yajur-Veda means it was seen as a highly respected, comprehensive system, almost a science of warfare that was integral to sacred knowledge.
So it was the military manual for ancient Indian martial lines.
Pretty much, yes. It standardized things.
And it wasn't just listing weapons, was it? It categorized them quite precisely.
Exactly. You see clear categories, like Mukta Astra, those are weapons you throw, bows, spears, that kind of thing.
Okay, thrown weapons.
Then a Mukta Astra, weapons you wield directly, swords, clubs, axes.
Wielded. Got it.
And this one's fascinating. Yantra Mukta Astra. Mechanically released weapons. So think catapults, complex bows. It shows a real understanding of engineering and warfare.
Wow, Yantra Mukta. That suggests some serious tech.
It certainly does. It points to a sophisticated level of military thinking.
So Dhanurveda sounds incredibly thorough. A real military doctrine.
It absolutely was. And crucially, it wasn't just about the weapons, the hardware. It also included detailed sections on battle formations, strategy, maneuvers.
And the mental side, too.
Yes, mental disciplines like meditation, focus, concentration. It was a truly holistic approach to military science, far beyond just the tools of war.
Okay, so we've got the philosophy, the science. Now let's talk about the sheer variety. Ancient India seems like a kaleidoscope of combat styles. So many regional variations. Where should we start?
Well, let's head south first to Kerala with Kalaripayattu, often cited as one of the oldest martial arts still practiced anywhere in the world.
Kalaripayattu.
Right.
It looks incredibly fluid.
It is, and it's very comprehensive. It's usually broken down into stages. You start with Maithuri, that's body control, conditioning, warm-ups, preparing the body.
I agree.
Then Kolsari, which involves training with wooden weapons, staffs, clubs.
Kolthari, wooden weapon.
Next is Angathari, moving on to metal weapons, swords, shields, daggers.
Angathari, metal.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
And finally, Varumkai, that's bare-handed combat, the culmination of the physical training.
What really jumped out at me reading about it was the integration of Ayurveda and these Mara points. Can you explain Marma points for us?
Sure. Marma points are vital energy points in the body. You can think of them as similar to, say, pressure points in acupuncture or shiatsu.
Oh, okay, like vital spots.
Exactly. Kalaripayattu practitioners learn these points intimately, not just for attack, knowing where to strike for maximum effect, but also for healing.
Healing too. That's interesting.
Yes. The Kalaris, the training grounds, they weren't just gyms. They were seen as holistic temples of learning. Students studied the art, yes, but also medicine, philosophy, spirituality. It was all connected.
That integrated approach is really something. Okay, moving from Kalaripayattu, let's go nearby to Tamil Nadu, Silambam, the stick fighting art.
Right. Silambam is famous for its use of the bamboo staff. The core skills are agility, really quick footwork, and sharp eye coordination.
It looks incredibly fast.
It is. Its origins are traced to the Kuravar community, a traditional tribal group, and it really flourished during the Chera dynasty, so it has deep historical roots in that region.
Then heading west to Maharashtra, we have Mardani Kel. This one seems heavily focused on sword and shield, doesn't it?
Very much so. It's strongly associated with the Maratha warriors, Shivaji's armies, for instance, and it emphasized practical skills for their context, things like guerrilla tactics, fighting effectively on horseback.
Tailored to their needs. Makes sense.
Then up in the northeast, in Manipur, you have the mighty martial arts, Thangta and Sarat Sarak.
Thang Ta. Thang is sword, Ta is spear.
Correct. Thangta involves both. It's known for these incredibly graceful, almost dance-like movements that are actually very deceptive and lethal.
And Sarit Sarak.
Sarat Sarak is the unarmed component, the bare-handed fighting style that goes along with Thangta. It emphasizes incredible speed and evasion, very dynamic.
Okay, swinging over to Punjab now. Gatka, the Sikh martial art.
Yes, Gatka. It uses wooden sticks, swords, and sometimes the chakram, that circular throwing weapon you see.
The chakram, right. Iconic.
What's really crucial about Gatka is its deep connection to Sikh spirituality. It emphasizes self-control, discipline, valor. It developed historically as a means of self-defense, particularly against Mughal oppression, so it's tied very closely to Sikh identity and their ethos of protecting the defenseless.
A powerful connection between faith and martial practice.
Absolutely, and we can't forget the grappling arts, which were really foundational across India, Musta Yuddha and Malla Yuddha.
Musta Yuddha is like ancient boxing.
Essentially, yes, but quite comprehensive. Punches, kicks, elbow strikes, knee strikes, a full striking system.
And Malla Yuddha is the wrestling.
Right, a very ancient and sophisticated wrestling system. You see references going way back, even to the Mahabharata, wrestlers trained in places called akhadas.
Akhadas, traditional wrestling gyms or pits.
Exactly, using unique traditional tools like heavy clubs, neck weights, and a lot of body weight exercises. Intense training.
And these wrestlers, they're often associated with figures like Hanuman and Bhima, legendary for their strength.
Yes, they are inspirations. And the discipline wasn't just physical. Malla Yuddha often involved strict codes, vegetarianism, celibacy, high moral standards. It was a whole way of life.
Truly a path of discipline.
And one more specific weapon-based art to touch on, Gada Yuddha, mace warfare.
The Gada, Bhima's weapon, Hanuman's weapon.
The very same. The Gada symbolizes not just raw strength, but also loyalty, righteousness. Wielding it required unique techniques, powerful swings, blocks, parries, specific footwork adapted to the weapon's weight and momentum.
It must take incredible strength and coordination. Used in duels, I imagine.
Often duels, yes, or as a devastating weapon in larger battles. It required immense upper body power and core stability.
Which brings us perfectly to the training itself.
Yeah.
You can't just pick up a Gada or a master archery without some serious physical conditioning.
Absolutely not.
And what's fascinating is how these ancient exercises, many still used in akhadas today, seem so, well, scientifically sound. even now.
They really are remarkably effective. Take the Gada training itself. Those traditional exercises involve these circular swings, using one or both hands, moving through different planes of motion.
I've seen videos, they look intense.
They are. They build incredible rotational strength in the shoulders, amazing grip endurance, and really improve posture. It's highly functional strength, not just bulk. It's amazing how they understood biomechanics back then.
And the Mugdar, those heavy wooden clubs. How are they different from the Gada in training?
Well, a Gada usually has that spherical head. A Mugdar is more like a heavy wooden club, often flared at the base. It's used specifically to build wrist strength, core engagement, and explosive power through dynamic swinging patterns. Different tool, slightly different focus.
Okay. And then the bodyweight basics.
Foundational, Hanuman Dand and Bithak. Essentially, Indian push-ups and squats, but often done with variations and in very high repetitions.
Sometimes with chanting, right?
Yes, sometimes chanting Hanuman's name. It builds full-body coordination, endurance, explosive power. Think of it like ancient plyometrics in some ways.
And I read about Garnal, neck rings.
Yes, heavy stone or wooden rings worn around the neck during calisthenics. The goal was to build serious strength and endurance in the neck and upper back muscles. Crucial for wrestling and absorbing impact.
It just shows such a deep, holistic understanding of physical development. Functional strength was clearly the goal. We can still learn a lot from that.
Absolutely. It wasn't just about looking strong. It was about being strong in ways that mattered for the art.
So, thinking about how these traditions persisted, we need to acknowledge the regional contributions too, right? Like from Telugu-speaking areas.
Definitely. The sources point to dynasties like the Vishnu Kundina and Kakatiya. They actively promoted martial training alongside things like Shaivism and temple building. It shows how integrated these arts were into the culture.
And warriors from Andhra Pradesh were apparently quite famous for specific skills.
Yes, renowned for bowmanship and swordsmanship particularly. And there were older traditions, sometimes called Andhra Yuddha Kala, which involved both armed and unarmed combat, sharing some similarities with Malla Yuddha or even Kalaripayattu rituals.
And this knowledge wasn't just held by elites, was it? It was kept alive in communities.
Right. Communities like the Seti Balija and Kapu, who were traditionally warriors but also agriculturalists, they maintained these training practices through local akharas and folk traditions. They were the custodians, really.
But then came a period of decline.
Yes, unfortunately. Colonial rule had a major impact. The British systematically disarmed local populations and often outlawed native martial traditions. They saw them as a potential threat to their control.
So many traditions went underground or were severely weakened?
Exactly. It significantly disrupted the open practice and transmission of these arts.
Thankfully, though, it wasn't the end of the story. There's been a revival, hasn't there?
Yes, post-independence, there's been a definite resurgence. Arts like Kalaripayattu, Silambam, Malla Yuddha, they're being practiced, taught, and appreciated again.
And the Akhadas?
Akharas across North India are still active, continuing that traditional training, often modeling their discipline, their focus on strength, celibacy, devotion, on the example of Hanuman. It's a living link to the past.
And pop culture has played a role too, I suppose. Movies and such.
It has, certainly. Bollywood, South Indian cinema, they've definitely helped bring some visibility back to these arts, made them look cool again, you know? But that said, there's still a real need for more serious documentation, more preservation efforts, to make sure the deeper knowledge, the nuances, aren't lost.
That's a crucial point, because what we've been discussing today, it's clear these ancient Indian martial arts are so much more than just historical relics.
Absolutely. They're living embodiments of dharma, of discipline, of inner mastery.
That's a unique combination, isn't it? Physical excellence tied directly to moral clarity and spiritual depth.
That's the heart of it. And reviving these traditions, or even just understanding them, it isn't really just about learning to fight or even self-defense in a narrow sense.
It's more about how to live.
I think so. It's about learning how to live with courage, with purpose, with devotion, qualities those ancient warriors cultivated.
So maybe the final thought for you, the listener, is this. Embracing these traditions in their true spirit could be about awakening that Kshatriya within. Not necessarily to fight external battles, but maybe to conquer the chaos within ourselves.
Finding that inner strength, that discipline, that sense of purpose in our own modern lives, that might be the real legacy.